Hello, my name is Hartley Silva and I'm a senior at Modesto High. My SAE is raising and showing dairy cattle. Upon graduation, I plan to attend MJC where I can judge dairy cattle. After transferring from MJC, I plan to go to a 4-year college where then I can study ag education and later become an ag teacher. Currently, I own about 50 registered Holsteins and Jersey cattle. I've been showing since I was 5 years old, and currently I have 3 milk cows that I'm planning on showing at the next available show. With my 50 registered Holsteins and Jerseys, I evaluate each and every single one of them with their pedigree and what they currently look like to see if they're show cow worthy. If they are show worthy, they will be brought down to the show barns where we can give them special treatment. Put them on a special diet, which we talk to the nutritionist and the vet to customize a diet just for them, and they will be given extra feed and be milked as extra if needed. If they are not show cow worthy, we will keep them at the main dairy and they will get bred and they will calve out and become one of the regular cows. And if their calves look good, we might end up selling them. Currently, I have one cow that is a permanent dry cow and we are flushing her to IVF flushing her to sell her eggs and embryos. We have flushed her 3 times and have gotten a total of 25 eggs. And we are expecting our next batch soon, hopefully, and they are all sexed to a leading genotype bull. When selecting a proper sire for Giggles, whether we breed her or flush her and select the sire for the embryos, we look for a bull that'll fix her imperfections. So we look for a bull that is a bit on the stronger side just because she is borderline frail, a bull that is a little bit shorter because she is 65, 66 inches tall, and a bull that is a little bit more straighter in the chine, fuller in the crops, a bull that maybe shows a little bit more width in the front end because she is frail, so she's narrow chested. A bull that is a little bit shorter, has a little bit shorter teats. Yes, length in it is shown on a chart. Some really good things or qualities that Giggles shows is she has really good spring to her rib cage and shows really good width through her rib and openness to her ribs. We test openness by seeing how many fingers you can fit in between each rib. We had a Jersey cow that you could fit your whole hand in between 2 ribs. She shows a lot of depth through her barrel. It is really important to have space between their ribs because it shows that she has dairy strength and dairy characteristics, and especially breed characteristics. And you want a cow that's extremely wide. If you look from behind, she is a very wide cow, especially when her udder is full on show day. The wider the better. You want a cow that's square in the rump structure, and she has a really good rump structure. If you look, her thurl is placed a little bit behind, but not too bad. You want them about even. And the nice thing is that you can tell as a heifer is if their thurl is positioned in the middle, you'll know that their feet will be underneath them when they walk. And you can see since her thurls are a little bit back, she'll tend to have her legs back behind her. This also correlates into the udder. If their thurl is placed in the middle, their udder will most likely be level. And the cow that is wide in the rump will also be wide in the udder because then that leaves room for the udder to grow. If she is narrow, she will not have a wide udder. And when showing a cow, you want a cow that is wide throughout from head to tail. Since she is 11 years old, she walks slower, and this is really good because it shows her traits off much better than if she were running fast and the judge can get a better look at her. Okay. both Holsteins and Jerseys, I can tell which breed brings more to the table when it comes to milk and quality, and as well as genetics. So Holsteins are a really great cow. They are milking machines, and they are good in the show ring and on paper as well. Holsteins are really good for selling, and if they're red, they tend to bring a little bit more extra money. And Jerseys are really good cows as well. They bring more butter fat and protein to the table. So they will increase your milk production and your milk checks if you have more in your string. They're also much shorter statured animals, so you can have shorter free stalls. You don't need much to have longer ones to fit the whole cow. And the nice thing is they are able to, you can fit more into your milk barn because they are not so wide compared to Holsteins.
Okay.
So when evaluating your cows, you look at everything from the head to tail. So right here, you can easily tell that they are wide. One is wider than the rest, and you can also see which is the tallest. A nice thing that you can see from behind is where they position their legs. So the middle one, she is the cow hock, where her hocks turn into her. Where the one over here, she has her feet more straightly and squarely placed beneath her. Another thing you can tell is their rump structures. So you can see how wide a rump structure they have and how straight of a tailhead placement they are. This one over here, she doesn't have as nice of a tailhead placement as we like compared to this one. And you can also see the angle of the rump. When looking at rump angle, you prefer straight or level. This correlates, this tells you that their feet are more placed underneath them. If their rump tends to slope, their feet will be really placed underneath them, which isn't a super bad thing, but if their rump is angled up, then their feet will tend to be really far behind them, and it just makes the cow not look as good. So if you have a high angled rump compared to a slopier rump, you want the slopey rump over the higher rump. When looking from behind, you can also look at the udder. So which udder has more venation, or higher, wider, if it's more bloom or pop to the udder, has a tighter rear udder attachment, more level udder floor, more idealistic teat size, shape, and placement, and stronger medial sensory ligament. And that is this right here, the seam. If you look here, this cow right here has a reverse tilt, which means her rear udder is higher than her fore udder, which in 2-year-olds that is okay because they tend to outgrow it. But if the cow is 4 or 3, that is not something you prefer in a cow. She examples really good venation throughout her udder, and this is really ideal because it shows her breed characteristics and that she milks a lot and that she is a very feminine cow. Another thing that you can tell from when looking behind is how dairy they are. Even if the cow is extremely out of condition, you'll be able to see how dairy she is by looking at her tail, because the tail doesn't gain fat. Up here it does, but down here it doesn't. So if you look right here, you'll be able to see how dairy the cow is, even if she's out of condition. So she is a fairly dairy cow. Over here, the dairiest cow would probably be this one right here. She has a very ultra refined tail, and that is a good thing when looking at cows and evaluating them. And if you look, you can actually see that she's dairier than the other two. And another way you can see is how much fat they have right here in their pin bones. She has a lot right here, so she's fatter and more out of condition.
So explain dairy a little bit.
So dairy. So dairiness is their femininity, or how much in shape they are. If a cow is out of condition, she won't make as much milk, and she will most likely not breed or stick to sires or breedings. And she will have a much longer lifespan. If the cow's extremely dairy, like Giggles here, then they tend to not live as long because they are so frail. They aren't able to stay in the main herd of cows and live a long life. So when you're looking at a cow, you want a cow that's equally dairy and strength. So that's why when judging, we use the term dairy strength. When looking for an ideal cow, you want a cow that is long and not so compact. She is very petite Jersey. She is very small in stature and she's not super wide, but she's also a cow that's not very long. She's kind of more on the compact side of the breed structure. And another problem is that if she is a little bit more petite and narrow through the rump, she will not be able to calve properly. She'll have more calving problems. If they're narrow, their calves will tend to get stuck or have issues whether they're breached or just come out dead, stillborns. So that is a problem when animal or cow is extremely narrow rumped. And say Holsteins, if they're really narrow, we have really narrow heifer, and what's probably best is to breed them to a Jersey bull for the first time, because then they get their first calf and it's not as large. Yes, it might not be able to, you won't be able to show it, but your cow will have less problems calving, and this will help bring you. When selecting a sire for my cows, I'll look at the magazines that we have at the dairy from the different semen companies. So this one's from Accelerated Genetics and this one's from Select Sires. And Select Sires, they have more of an option and I'd say better bulls. Like right here, this is Giggles' sire, Goldcrest Atwood. And this chart right here tells us how tall they are, how short, and it's on the length. So he is 3.39 tall, so he's extremely tall. And it goes all the way down through teat length, rib, how open they are, how much depth to the barrel they have, how posty or sickled legs they have. So it's really well for looking at the bulls. And it's always nice to have this current sire of the bull, and then when looking for a service sire, it is best to have that one there so you can compare them and see, okay, it has the potential to go more to the grandpa side than to the sire that it has, or that you're going to breed to. So this is a bull that we would use, and we have bred Giggles to him before, and unfortunately the calf was breached and didn't make it, but this is a bull that we definitely breed her again to. We've seen heifers that look extremely nice from this bull. It is Tattoo, and he is on the tall side, but is shorter than Atwood. He is 2.97. He's on the stronger side. Has a little more depth. So in the rump, he's fairly level, which is a good thing. And then the teat length, he's shorter, which I did mention she does want. We do need a little bit shorter teats for her. So Tattoo is a really good bull. And the nice thing is because she is so frail, he's calving ease. So the calves, they don't have a lot of issues when they calve. So that's a nice thing. And even as her offspring will have not so much struggle when calving. So that's a nice thing that ST Genetics, they have on their website. And this is from 2018 and it just has all the sires that they offered there. And you can look through all of them, and that's a really good thing.